Well, good morning, people. I've got a couple of people here already. Of course, the little interlude there is to get people, give people 5 minutes to get into the stream rather than talk to ourselves. So we were talking about sort of stepping up the game on this little Saturday morning thing, so I've changed the title there. The Amalgamated Union of Philosophers, Sages, Luminaries and Other Professional Thinking Persons.
Well, that excludes me, so I'll say goodbye now.
Yes, when we go out, we tend to get all these philosophical subjects, and they go on for hours. So we can talk about news, we can talk about anything, but let's just talk about life in general. I got one article that I thought was quite interesting. I come across. It's got nothing to do with Thailand. That's really part of what's going on here. There's so much more interesting things happening around the world. Let me see if I can find the article. Where did I stick it? I stuck it in the Discord channel, didn't I? Live stream suggestions. There it is. Yep. Open that in another window. There we go. Okay. This particular article caught my eye. Yeah. The surprisingly gross reason New York brownstones look like that. We all know the brownstones, and we've watched the Elementary series and a few other series that feature the brownstones in New York. Is that right?
I think so.
There's
plenty of locations in movies that feature the brownstones. So.
Yeah, but I've never really sort of crossed my mind about the thought about why do they have these steps going up. And this article does a pretty good reason for explaining it. New York's brownstones are practically a city landmark, all on their own. Those tall townhouses, complete with iconic stoop is a little landing, leading up to the elevated door, which are found throughout the city. But have you ever wondered exactly why they have such a particular look? What made such a bunch of architects more than 100 years ago all decide to put front doors halfway up the wall, thus dooming generations of New Yorkers to have to climb stairs just to get inside their own homes? The answer is unlikely to surprise those who live in the city, or indeed those who abhor it. It comes down to so many things throughout history, due to poop. Right? It's a poop issue. By 1880, there was at least 150,000 horses living in New York, and probably a great many more, wrote Elizabeth Colbert in 2008 article The New Yorker. Each one relieved itself on average 22 pounds of manure a day, meaning that the city's production of horse droppings ran to at least 45,000 tonnes a month. Residents and officials alike bemoaned the state of New York streets. George Waring Jr., the city street cleaning commissioner, described Manhattan as stinking with an emanation of putrefying organic matter, while another observer wrote that the streets were literally carpeted with warm brown matting smelling to heaven. Colbert writes that the problem's so bad, she explains, that one commentator predicted that by 1930 horse manure would reach the level of Manhattan's third-story windows. I think people exaggerate, but anyway. With all the poop coat in the streets, it was not surprising that New York homeowners wanted to be as far away from it as possible. The stink alone must have been overwhelming. But it was also a health hazard. Feces was a breeding ground for billions of disease-carrying flies, and would have attracted rats and vermin hungry for little specks of tasty undigested horse feed that lay inside the disgusting outer shell. In vacant lots, horse manure was piled as high as 6 feet. Just thinking of, oh my God. In 2002, yeah, it lines city streets like banks of snow. In the summertime, it stank to heavens. When the rains came, a soup steam of horse manure flooded the crosswalks and steeped into people's basements. this this wasn't a problem unique to New York, by the way. London, the problem also was so bad, the Times had declared the Great Horse Manure Crisis of 1894, predicting that in 50 years every street in London will be buried under 9 feet of manure. Sounds unpleasant, doesn't it? I'm just thinking about it, like we're going through this current crisis now, in the AI revolution. This is where we're going, and this is you can't avoid it. It's going to happen. It's already taking over, and we're worried about job losses. In the 1800s, well, look at all those horses that lost jobs when the motor car came in. We survived that little revolution, but will we survive the next one? And I'll show you a little bit of an example. I was being a little bit creative last night, so let's go back to my docs. A thought came across my mind. This is back onto the philosophy thing. Right, so I went into ChatGPT and I asked it a question. Why?
Explain what ChatGPT is.
I'll let you explain it.
ChatGPT is an AI program that's online, and you can ask it questions or ask it to do things, and it's completely AI based. I wrote an article about a month ago about someone that put their end of term exam questions in there, and it drafted out the almost perfect response.
Yeah, that's right. It was a perfect
to the question. So it's sort of like deep thought. If you ever watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it's a deep thought. I don't know how legit it is. But
well, I don't know. I think it's okay. This is why I thought giving people a bit of an idea. So I had a question, right, and it's about the current status of the economy, which is lithium, right? We run the EV cars are based on lithium. There is an article that I could reference there. This is looks like we've found a way to leverage sodium, right, as a cathode in EV. But sodium is a little bit more volatile than a few other things. But so I asked the question. I said, why is there abundance of sodium on our planet and a scarce supply of lithium? It's a valid question. I was like, I got to ask you, couldn't I? What would be your answer to that one? But we've lost your audio. You're talking. I don't hear you. You can hear me? I can't hear you. Check. Oh, there we go. You're back again.
How's that?
Yeah. What you press? You press something.
Oh no, Mick said my volume was a bit low, so I tried to
raise
my volume a bit.
Well, I can do that. I can do that here.
Okay.
There we go. You get another 10%.
No, well, what you're asking, I mean, it all depends on the base elements of the two things that you're asking about. How much is that available, and what environmental situations you have to arise for the secondary or tertiary element to be able to develop.
Anyway, the ChatGPT gave me this answer, and this is like talking to a philosopher. The abundance of sodium and scarcity of lithium on our planet can be attributed to several factors. Firstly, sodium is one of the most abundant elements on Earth's crust, making up 2.3% of its composition. In contrast, lithium is much rarer, with an estimated abundance of only 0.0007% of Earth's crust. This means that there is a supply more. This means that there is simply more sodium available than lithium. Secondly, the geological process that concentrates lithium in economically viable deposits are relatively rare compared to those that concentrate sodium. Lithium is often bound by brine deposits, which are formed in specific geological settings, such as closed basins with high evaporative rates. In contrast, sodium is found in a wide range of rock types and often leached out of rocks by rainwater and carried into lakes and rivers and oceans. Thirdly, the demand for lithium has surged in recent years due to its use in rechargeable batteries for electric vehicles and other high-tech applications. This has put pressure on the already limited supply of lithium, leading to higher prices and concerns about future shortages. Overall, the abundance of sodium and scarcity of lithium on our planet can be attributed to the combination of their relative abundances on Earth's crust, the geological processes that concentrate them, and increasing demand for lithium, and blah, blah, blah. So then I go on and ask it, because I'm talking to it, right? So I ask the next question, okay, but from a point of matter creation, lithium is lower on the periodic table than sodium, so therefore more abundant from a matter point of view, given that all matter is created in the explosion of stars. Right, that's a fairly logical,
Yeah.
You are correct. From a cosmic perspective, lithium is more abundant than sodium. This is because lithium is formed during the Big Bang, the event that marked the beginning of the universe, while sodium is predominantly formed in stars. During the Big Bang, the high temperatures and densities allowed for fusion of protons and neutrons into atomic nuclei. The most abundant elements formed in the Big Bang were hydrogen and helium, but trace amounts of lithium and other elements were also produced. In contrast, sodium is predominantly formed in stars through the process known as nucleosynthesis. In the interior of stars, fusion reactions occur that produce heavier elements from lighter ones. Sodium is produced when helium nucleus and alpha particles fuse with the carbon nucleus to form neon, which then captures another alpha particle to form sodium nucleus. Despite lithium being more abundant than sodium in the universe, the relative scarcity on Earth can be attributed to the geological factors, blah blah, as explained in the previous response. So it actually keeps the context of the conversation you're having with it. We don't have this is real happening right now, and people are just ignoring it. I'm seeing everywhere we go, it's just being ignored. And I've got no what people just don't read, people don't check, people are just dumb now, aren't they?
I don't know. I can't comment, but I will.
Yeah.
Attention span. I mean, that's but seriously, that's the first thing that pops into my head is the ability to have a longer attention span, and then to assimilate the information that's provided or the activity that's experienced. You either like it, enjoy it, want to do it more, therefore you investigate, research, and go to a higher level. But it's the instant gratification. I want it now, I've got it, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
That's just my thought. I mean, everything that I've been able to sort of have a personal gratification from wasn't obtained in 15 seconds. It was built up. Okay, I've got to learn to do the basics, and you go to the intermediate level, and then you become slightly proficient. But even when you become slightly proficient, there's still more to learn. I mean, I can do two examples. Gaming. I'm not proficient at all. I enjoy it. It's an escapism. It's something that keeps the brain ticking over. But compared to you, Psycho, Oggy at times, I'm a complete numpty. And
Yeah, well, you're just newer at the game than anybody else, yeah.
but then how do I get better? I experience or I assimilate information. I ask you guys what the hell's going on, or I look and try and look up, well, okay, I'm at this stage, what happens next? But I don't think people, I won't put a large caveat on it, I think a lot of people just go, well, that's too hard basket. Too hard basket. And when you say about reading, why should you read? Because everything's in a 15, 60 second or 2 minute video somewhere that they can look up.
Yeah.
And you brought up a point last night that, okay, podcasting's dying.
Hmm.
But that, if you sort of get involved with podcasts, that has a level of interaction. You actually have to listen, you have to actually simulate, and you have to follow along with the discourse. Rather than watching pretty pictures, you actually have to listen and work something out for yourself in your brain.
Yeah, it's a different engagement, yeah. And of course, this is the reason that come up is the fact that, you know, YouTube, with this diversification of its platform, right, are now moving into podcasts. So, you know, they're trying to cover all bases, and they're not doing any of them very well. But, you know, they're still the biggest player in the market, but we'll see how that goes. Mick asked, you know, Mick sort of says there, people are also ignoring how lithium is being mined by children and families with bare hands. Well, this is true, you know, but again, this is, what can I do? Like, it's not in my circle of influence. I can't do anything about it. All I can say is sort of have a negative, you know, feeling about the whole lithium mining process. I wish they'd get better at it. But, you know, it's more about the ripping up the forests, you know, like in you know, Bolivia. Is it Bolivia? Bolivia and South America. It's basically where most of the lithium is being mined now, is it? You know, you got Colombia, Bolivia, God, Venezuela. Yeah. And, you know, and not only that, what I'm getting at is they're ripping up the, you know, the forests, the lungs of the planet, the things that the carbon sequestering process that we have got built into this planet, right? They're taking that away. Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yes, active versus passive, and that's the thing. That's, you know, you've heard it 1,000 times. You know, like if you don't read, you know, you're not going to learn anything really.
All right, I put it back to how most people learn their multiplication tables. You visualised it, you were audible about it, and then there was repetition. I know you're talking when you're like 7, 8, or 9, but if you're going to progress and have an assimilation of a new knowledge, it has to be used and used over. Learning a language is exactly the same. I mean, I'm 53 now, and I'm still implementing what I learned when I was in primary school.
Yep.
You get the information, you assimilate it visually and audibly, and then you repeat it. You
use it. Yeah, you use it. Yeah. You create the kinesthetic motion that sits behind all these sort of things. You know, the muscle memory, we call it.
It gets into the too hard basket. I think some people go, "Oh, this is too hard. Hang on, I'll go find out what someone's doing with a cat on TikTok. That'll be more enjoyable." Sorry.
Chris just asked a question on another news piece. I was shocked to hear the total fatalities in the Ukraine war on both sides. Anyone hazard a guess? No, I haven't really been following it because it's not really a war. It's a political, you know, standoff, you know, against two ideologies at the moment, and they're just the pawns in the middle. But yeah, well, so go on, fill us in, Chris. What do you reckon?
Try and stay clear of those subjects.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, they bring people down. Too slow? Yeah, I'm doing all right. No, I've got I don't know, 250,000. Really?
Is that both sides?
But that's both sides. Yeah. What's the spread though? I think more Russians have died than Ukrainians, haven't they?
No one wins in wars. It's, after experiencing it personally, no one wins in wars. Except the people that make war machines.
Yeah, it's all about the up you know, the economy of scale of death and destruction. We are a sad species. No wonder the Fermi paradox is so true. What alien in their right mind would come and, you know, land on this planet to be dissected?
Well, I mean, I know hypothetically. You look at that. I mean, the way some people treat the unknown. What would be the spontaneous thought process? Okay, oh my God, there's an alien standing in front of me. what do I do? Do you engage in discourse, or do you capture and dissect?
Well, the basic premise now is shoot first, ask questions later. That's what happens here in our society, which is a sad situation. But yeah, you know, a million things that go wrong. Like they're a biological entity from a different planet. You know, we've had 2 billion years of evolution for the biology of our species to cope with all the. And that was in War of the Worlds. That famous classic. That's what killed the aliens then, was the unseen, the microbes. But again, the aliens are going to have microbes on them, and the chance of their microbes killing us is just as high as our microbes killing them. Yeah. Was it Ukraine 100,000, Russia 300,000? So Russia's not doing too good compared to yeah. Ayrton just made a statement that it is impossible to legalise e-cigarettes and vaping. It's impossible. No, it's not impossible. They just need to tax the import. That's all. It's not impossible, right? Australia do it quite well. Just about every package that comes into Australia now gets scanned, irrespective of its price. They've been doing that for how long? It just means it means work. People have got to do work. This is obviously the problem. You make the laws, and the best thing about Thailand is that's it. The law's there, but just be good. Just be good.
Hello, boss.
G'day, boss.
Been a while.
So yeah, what we're going to do? We're going to talk philosophy. Philosophize. Well, I'll start talking.
I can say I'm knowledgeable. I've just had experience, so
yeah.
If I can outlay any of my learnings from my experience, and someone goes, "Oh, that sounds interesting," or it sparks some sort of creative activity in the brain, I'm happy to pass it on. It's just because last night we were talking about we learn so many things from the quickness of digital media. But what's happened with we go back to the basis of learning an apprenticeship. How do you learn an apprenticeship? You go into an establishment, you have people there of a older age with more experience, and they pass on that experience through engagement. So that doesn't really happen much these days. I know there's still apprenticeships around and everything like that, but it was funny. I'm trying to remember who used to have this saying, I do it my by self. When someone was younger, a friend of mine used to say, I do it my by self. A lot of people say, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to do it without any support, any upper knowledge. Why? If you can get through and learn more from other people, especially the elderly, why don't you listen? Why don't you engage?
Yeah. Yeah, on Jack's thing, yes, again, that's what they're basically saying. It's not my job. They're just passing the buck on that one. One of the parties will come up with it. It'll be a standing that they put on there. But it is. It's completely ridiculous. That they legalise pot and then e-cigarettes that have probably less harmful effects. And it really started. It was a tax situation. Thailand couldn't tax it. So they made it outlaw because that was the law, and I think we did the research enough to sort of say that's still the existing law. The actual possession, right, and use, that's the grey area that's being leveraged by the Christmas fund process here we have in Thailand. But I'm pretty sure if you get up in front of a judge, well, I'm not importing it, I've just bought it on the street here in Thailand. Me? Why you affect me? Talk to him. It's his problem. But anyway, I don't think that really works, but get the idea. It's just, come on. They've got to come from somewhere. Right? So do what we do in Australia. Check every box, check every bag, check everything. Right? And then again, that was the thing. When we first started coming over here, when they first started doing it, I would take my receipts with me. I had my receipts in my wallet to say, look, I paid tax on them. I bought them out of country. That was the way you were supposed to do it back then, prove the fact that you didn't buy it in Thailand. But yeah, but then of course, that was too hard to enforce. They just made a blanket rule over it, which made it worse. But anyway, we're not here to discuss their laws. They're their laws. You just got to abide by them as much as you can without affecting somebody else.
Except if you're riding the MRT. But don't get me going on that.
Oh, that's right, the Russians last night. The lemmings. Oh my God.
I mean, I do have a European background in the family, and it's and I've met some awesome Baltic people from the Baltic regions. But it was just like coming onto the MRT. 99.9% of people on the MRT are wearing masks. When in Rome, do as the Romans. It's one of those things. And what was that? A gaggle, 15 plus.
15, yeah, Russians, yeah.
And it was quiet. The MRT's quiet, and everyone keeps to themselves, looks at their phone. If you're sitting next to someone you quietly interact. It was like the Colosseum in full gladiator mode entered the MRT. It was just like, I'm sitting there going,
oh my God.
Wouldn't you feel uncomfortable being I don't know. I give up sometimes, mate. Seriously.
Some people just some people just don't get it, do they? But this is Thailand.
Yeah.
I got Mark in Thailand. Mark. G'day, Mark. You came up in conversation a few times last night.
Yes, I'm doing some planning. Like I mentioned it last week, it's a bit slow in sort of covering off and ticking boxes last year because of the situation with my passport having a journey through the laundry. But now it's sort of like I'm catching up with Mayor Groves next month,
and he's just joined the party. G'day, Robert.
And then in April after Songkran, I'm going to catch up with Marky Mark. Both gentlemen helped me. I've just lost my.
You crashed again.
You
crashed
logged
again.
me out again. Both gentlemen helped me come over here during the tough times, and I did promise I'd catch up with them when I got settled. So I'm a little bit more settled now. So heading to Cha next month, and then heading to Rayong region in April. So that's why Marky Mark came up.
Still not getting. Yep, still not getting that my multiplayer game there for some reason.
It will. It takes a little bit.
It takes a bit of time. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's got to pick up the cache. There we are. I'll get back in.
Yeah, Robert's looking forward to what he says. On a totally different tangent, what are your plans for Songkran? What, me or Todd? I don't know what our plans are. I don't know. I won't know till 2 days before Songkran. This is Thailand. Come on, we make plans months in advance, but the Thais make plans hours in advance. Come on, this is Thailand. But yeah, look, hopefully we'll get to do some water fights this year. I sort of missed those. They haven't
sort of said it's not allowed this year. It's like okay, full steam ahead.
Well, I haven't heard any. Normally they're announcing the fact that things are not going to happen, or things are going to happen, or whatever they're going to do. It's only six weeks out, isn't it? Yeah.
April 12th to 15th.
Something like that. Yeah.
Mayor Groves will correct me if I'm
wrong. He's our resident sage. So
wonderful knowledge.
I'm just a luminary. He's the sage.
What do you hate Songkran for, Chris?
Yeah, we want to know why you hate Songkran. It's a great time. And Jen Desperado, g'day Jen, how you doing? Got to catch up with you after this stream here. I want to chat about a few things as well. If you're still around, I'll nudge you. But when we finish here, we can do the hour here. Then we're going over to Twitch And that's another thing we mentioned. So this is the established order now is going to be the hour start up, get people out of bed, or whatever, and then we just move into the gaming side of things. What we're doing, we're going to be doing a lot more stuff with Jen because there's a lot of fun flying with their crew there. They've got a nice crew, right? But stability of 318 is not that good at the moment. I can't even log in at the moment. Jesus. Well, I can log into America. I can't log into the Australian servers for some reason. But anyway.
Boss, Chris Brown, saturated everywhere you go isn't my idea of fun. No, Chris, it depends. Like, if you get harassed, I remember having Songkran here 15, 16 years ago or something like that. And it was an absolute ball. But you're in a party area where the party atmosphere is. But if you're around a family situation and a closed area, I don't think it's... I don't know, a lot of people go overboard, but I suppose it depends on the location.
Well, it's a great time to come out. So Mick says he's coming out here this time, so that Songkran, so it'll be a lot of fun. If you've never had Songkran before, yeah, I can understand the saturation. There are the idiots that want to do some things that are crazy. They put the big 44-gallon drums on the back of their ute, and then they put massive blocks of ice in it, and so the water becomes ice water. Normal water's fine in Songkran. It's when they hit you with the ice water that is just ugh. But it's part of this. It's just like paintball, isn't it? You shoot them, they shoot you. But yeah, we haven't had it for a couple of years. We're sort of missing all the fun. But yeah, getting wet and walking around places where you want to go and then getting wet, yeah, that was always a problem. Oh look, I got to go somewhere. I can't go there and be drenched. So And the other side of it is the motorcycle. Motorcycles tend to come off worse from all the water on the roads. But yeah, last 10 years of Songkran was also hard with two young kids. I could imagine. Yeah.
I can picture that.
Yes, it's all about the cooling down aspect. And if you're in Pattaya, probably a bit of tit grabbing as well, I think. Doesn't so much happen around the normal, Thai areas, but yeah. Except that video, the one we did in Songkran from about 4 or 5 years ago, when a couple of the old ladies come up to Chanya and grabbed it. Whatever. And it's on video. There you go. But yeah, that was life. Sorry, back again. Yeah, as I was saying, if you were there, I want to catch up with you after the stream. You want to have a chat about a few things. But yeah, look, if Twitch, we're doing the Twitch gaming now on a Saturday morning after this, and hopefully we'll be able to sort of build it up from there and sort of get a couple of other days a week. I just don't know. Every time I think about it, and this is what I want to talk to Jen about, is just I'm retired, and the whole idea of Twitch, like Jen has done, is now partner in Twitch, and it is a job on top of another job. But God, that must drive you nuts, whereas for me, it'll just be a job, which I stopped working 7 years ago. Can I be routine enough to, I can do the Saturday morning thing. I've proved that to myself that I can hold a schedule, but can I do it? 3 or 4 days a week? Because that's what you need to do. 9 episodes of Last of Us. I didn't think that because I watched episodes 5 or 6, and it didn't look like it was anywhere near finishing the story. Yes, Jen. Yep, it's a big job. Yeah, then again, this is what we want to talk about. I just want to really talk about your challenges over the last 2 years of growth. But yeah, it's something you don't want to put on your stream, so it's sort of more of a private conversation. No, that's my if you're not subscribed to my Twitch, then that's my Twitch channel. But the other thing, there's only about a 3 or 4 second latency on Twitch, whereas you've got a 15 to 20 second latency on YouTube, so you can actually have more of a direct conversation with people. I think when I'm watching, I think in even Jen's case, I think we barely get a 2 second latency. I think they give him more bandwidth because he's a partner now, I think. You know, you can because that's the thing. Because when you're watching the stream, you're in his Discord channel. He says something there. If you don't turn the microphone off, on the stream, you know, he says something, then he says something again. You know, 2 seconds later, mute. It's all right. You got a football jumper. Oh, well, yeah, good. And who's the team? Who's the team?
He's going to say Collingwood. I'll put money on Collingwood.
Yeah, it's Collingwood. Yeah, because that's Susie's team, isn't it? Collingwood.
Yeah.
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 Post it over. Yeah, look, the address, my address, I think, is on my Facebook profile. They don't need to hide from anybody. Got nothing to hide.
Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide. Maggie's. That was my colours. In my junior football years, we were the Maggies. Ascot Magpies.
So is it the old version? It's not the PopeKael version, Chris, I'm assuming, because if it's the Magpies, it can't be the PopeKael.
Yes, yeah, Susie will love it. Port Adelaide visited, in fact, Lisa, yeah. Yes, that was my team, you know. 6-year premiership leaders, and the 7th year we only got 2nd place. Got 6 jumpers out of it, 6, you know, jerseys out of it for a year we won, but yeah, they don't fit me anymore. That was when I was like 14.
Awesome, Chris. Awesome. It's the old school pre-PopeKael. All Magpies.
Cool.
And Boss has got a couple of Collingwood jumpers. Well, just bring one over if you've got a spare one next time, Boss, because if you give it to Susie, she'll probably ask you to marry her just for the fact that you're a Collingwood supporter.
And you have to get it. You have to sign it for her as well, and write a little story, and you know, they all go on the wall. There you go. All her little memorabilia that goes up there.
And she's done some renovations out the back, so there's a lot more room where she can put the memorabilia and all the artifacts she's gathering. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, she's moved the pool. She's taken the pool table out.
Yeah.
So we got some more space there, but we still really don't know what to do with the space. You know, we do need some more seating. You know, sometimes that place is full. You know, I think a couple of weeks ago, where people were looking in and they saw no seats, and they would walk onto the next bar. This week it was different. It was, you know, very light traffic for our little Friday afternoon. It varies from day to day. I played for Paddington Colts, then graded by East. Okay. Went over mine. I want over the bar, prime position.
Easy, mate.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a competition there.
But we did notice a lot of the places last night are getting busy. Like not sort of like the spontaneous. Okay, everything's overloaded, but it was sort of like I suppose on average more people hanging around.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hanging around, but nobody actually participating in the actual bars. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there was people hanging around, but. Not that Wazza and I are barflies. This only happens once a fortnight, guys. I mean, that came up in conversation with a friend of mine in Australia. Going, okay, well, how's the liver going? I'm going, liver's actually fantastic. Apart from a little interlude, maybe, and I'd say maybe to Colchi at Salia, my local, and Wazza and Chanya come along with that as well. It's only once a fortnight that we get into Bangkok. So the liver's actually fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Liver becomes a problem if, you know, in your kidneys. They become a problem when you do it every night, you know, for years on end. Yeah. But yeah, we don't drink. Well, we don't drink to excess. We don't drink much. And, you know, I think I was doing Samsung and Coke last night. And, well, Samsung soda and Coke, because just with Coke it's too sweet. But yeah.
And I was having my usual Smirnoff Yuzus, and that was it.
Yep.
Caught the BTS and the MRT home? Oh, we didn't get the MRT. We were just on the BTS down to Bangla.
That's a good. He's a good subject. On a different, because Jerry's not here to defend himself, but we'll talk about it. He's one of the lads. Yeah, Jerry did put a video up. We've seen it. We've critiqued it on a couple of points there, which he was grateful for the clues. But yeah, it was a very good effort. Yes, I have to admit, for his first one, he's done very well. When you see some of the crap that comes out of, the first timers, shooting pictures of their cats or whatever, thinking that they're going to go viral because of a cat video. No, but it was an entertaining video.
Yeah.
You just got to relax a little bit more in front of the camera. That takes a few outings. But he's off to Egypt in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't drink with us last night. He says he didn't want to risk it last night. So Piker, where is he?
Well, you're into the chung last night, Mayor Groves. Okay, a little bit. I mean, like New Year's Eve, I had chung at Wazza's place when we had New Year's celebrations there. But unfortunately, my go-to beer when I do drink beer is Leo. But I mean, my arm can be twisted to have 1 or 2 chung if required.
Yeah, I just, if I'm giving it a choice, I always prefer to drink Leo. It's a choice thing. Beer's beer.
Also an image thing, because you've got the 3 tiers. This is what I've been told.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to be corrected. You've got chung, which is the basic beer, the beer you drink when you're hot and you want to have a beer, and then the next step up. This is from my late mate Fidel. The next one up is Beer Leo, which is the mid-range. It's the label, the red Leo and everything like that. And then you've got the high-so version, which is Singer. And if you sit there with 4 bottles of Singer on your table, it's sort of like, I'm drinking Singer.
It
doesn't taste any different, but I'm drinking Singer.
That's what I always felt. Singer tastes a bit more bitter. Chung is a bitter, isn't it? I would have called Chung a bitter as opposed to a lager.
I haven't tried Singer because Fidel wouldn't let me. He would not
He
allow.
I wouldn't. Really?
So it was Leo or some salt. That was it.
Let's see if we can grab Jerry's channel for him. I got to go over here, then I got to go over here, and I go over here. And what did he call his channel? Oh my God!
Jen, I'm not saying it. Let me put a caveat on everything I say. It's not meant to be detrimental to anyone else's thought processes. It's just my thoughts and observations. If you enjoy drinking it, Jen, drink it. That's the whole thing. We were talking last night about enjoyment while I was looking for this link.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting back. Okay, what do we do? What do we do to enjoy things? And I actually, doing my research to head down to see Mayor Groves and Marky Mark, discovered there's a couple of ultralight training areas and airports down near Rayon. And in my previous life, I did a fair bit of private pilot license flying in wrecked planes, such as the Jibberoo. And I'm thinking, okay, I want to get back into doing something I enjoy. Life's too short, and let's do stuff. So I'm sort of going to try and kill 3 birds with 1 stone next time I go down to see Marky Mark, is explore those little aerodromes and get back into something that I find enjoyable. Other people may not find it enjoyable, but as Wazza and I were talking about last night, and I think Jack joined in, is that you've got to do stuff that makes you feel alive rather than sit and vegetate.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, like, as we know, scientifically proven facts is the fact that, when you're scanning little mobile phones, those likes are giving little doses of dopamine, because, and the society's become dopamine addicts,
Well, I suppose it's better than being crack addicts. I mean,
Well, yeah, well, at least it's not crack, at least not PCP, but yeah. But this is what's happened with life, you know. And, look, I actually would. This is all part of the conversation last night. Was the D word came up with Chanya this week, depression. She's, you know, and I'm trying to get more out of that, you know, and you know, she just feels that, you know, life is too much the same and making her feel depressed. Why? Well, she goes to work, cuts hair. When she doesn't have a customer, she's scanning her phone. Zzz, then she cuts hair, comes home, she sits in front of the TV, and zzz, that's it. The only time that she's not doing that is when we go out for lunch or dinner or, you know, shopping, you know, when we get out of the house. But you know, like, again, when you're on a budget, you can't be out of the house every day doing other things. You know, she's got a job, blah 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 blah. And I'm trying to explain to her, says, well, you know, your life at this point here, and you know, your mid-30s, you know, every day is weighed up against all those memories of the previous 37 years, right? And it just dilutes what's happening now because you're always making constant references to what it was like, right? But life is not like that. Life is process of moving forward, right? They're nice to reflect on, but if you sit there and dwell on the fact that why can't I have that anymore, well, the question you're going to ask is, well, why did I go and do that to start with, and let's go and do it again, right? Exactly. You know, but most people prefer just to sit down and have the little dopamine hit. Well, look, look, PopeKael on the kettle black. You know, why do we game? Because you get that dopamine hit. You just get more of it, and it's, you know, a little bit more, a little bit less personally, you know, involved in it.
Yeah, yeah. But it's the whole thing. It's like you've got to make an effort to get the reward.
Yeah.
You don't get that instant gratification. I suppose you do, like you say, if you get that 1 or 2 likes on a post or whatever, you go, oh, people like me. That's that little dopamine hit. But if you want the, I'm trying to think of the right analogy to use. You want the continuous feeling of success or accomplishment. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to, like we were talking about earlier in the stream, you've got to do your research. You've got to gain your knowledge, and then you've got to implement it. And you get success from achieving goals. Goal setting. Do people goal set? I'll throw it out there. Do people goal set, or they just go, okay, I'll do what I need to do? I mean, if you don't have goals, what are you working towards? Not working as in working to gain monetary, I suppose, yes, but working towards improving yourself or working to gain extra knowledge or I don't know. It's just, what are people doing now? I just get confused as to, I know there's old ways of doing stuff, but if you keep it simple, it seems to work properly.
Yeah.
I was saying, keep it simple, stupid.
And so Davis is saying on dopamine, a good book worth reading is called In Dopamine Nation, Overabundance Keeps Us Craving More. It's just a bit of a write-up on the actual book. I did on that search, I won't show it, there is a PDF out there, so you don't have to buy it. I might download that at some stage, not now, but...
I know you've reached a lot of goals, Mayor Groves, but you're still doing stuff. I'm not going to talk about the nitty-gritty that we've messaged each other about, but you're out and about helping people, you're out and about providing guidance and information. I mean, that's still goal achievement because you're helping progress someone else's life or achievements and everything like that. So it may not be the primary things, because hopefully you and B are finally getting the chance to enjoy life in Thailand in a relaxing environment. But if you reflect on that, Mayor Groves, you've had to work, gain knowledge, level yourself up to be able to reach where you are now. And people that I've sort of had experience with recently, apart from those that I talk with outside the stream, don't seem to be setting those wheels in motion for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and I have to admit, my life goals were also pretty much fully achieved. There's a few things on my bucket list that haven't been done. There's some logistic problems, like, sex in outer space is something that I don't think I could ever afford. But but you've got to have goals. Life is full of.
Is that a figure like expectation versus reality? Wise?
Yeah, well, when you make your goal list, everybody should do it. You should just get a piece of paper and start writing down 1 to 100 things you want to achieve in the next 10 years. You'd be surprised how quickly you start writing that list and how quickly you can start to cross the stuff off, because the act of writing it down creates the process.
Mm-hmm.
So many people will sit down and think about their goals. Like, I can't find my goal list. It's in a book somewhere. I've got packed away in a box. I haven't looked at it for 10 years. But, living in Thailand was one of them, all the things I've achieved is on. My problem now is I'm not making plans for the future. Well, I am now thinking about, Twitch and a few other things, I'm lacking motivation to do the next level, if you want. This is what we go through, because you got that retired. Life is simple, I could live out my life in this chair as long as the food keeps coming, and somebody takes the waste basket out. But anyway.
Whereas I have to have 1 or 2 days a week switched off, where I've got to mop the floors, I've got to do all the laundry, I've got to de-weed the garden and everything like that. And Wazza goes, "Oh, no, I don't really have to do that." I'm going, all right, fine.
Mum does that, Sonya's mum does that. It's unfortunate I've made life too easy here, by the way that
Nothing
things.
wrong with that, but then like you said last night, you still need to have, what's the next step? The reaching the destination and achieving goal just takes that one little step out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
What is it? Yes, Marky Mark, the goal you've set: see out your contract and retire for a second time.
That's it. Well, again, reset the goals. It's all about, what's it? Was it Covey? Is it sharpen the swords? The seventh point, the seventh step in the habits of highly effective people. Sharpen the sword. You got to rinse and repeat and go around and round again. That's how you get better.
Yeah.
I'm better at the gaming because I've got better muscle memory. I've done along. As Todd's muscle memory gets up to spec, right? When's your guitar coming? You bringing you haven't got the guitar yet?
No.
That's new muscle memory. That one.
Well, I'm looking forward to doing that. Like I've played guitar since I was 15, 16.
Mm.
But I haven't picked one up for absolute years. And during that period, I had major surgery on one of my arms, and it's at a different angle. And the last time I picked up a guitar, it felt odd, like I couldn't even do my chord finger placements, and just on a C, E, G progression, I couldn't even do the smooth slide because the elbow's just at a different angle. So that'll be a goal. I'll get back into sort of putting aside 3 or 4 hours a week and just sit and strum away and relearn my finger positionings and things like that.
That's all it takes. Relearn. Sharpen the saw. But anyway, look, it's getting towards our end of stream time, and we need to take.
Groves.
Yep.
I'm not doing any gardening for you. Sorry, mate. You've got apparently a pool boy and a gardener in your area, mate. Come on. It's I don't mind assisting and helping people. Everyone knows that, but I hate doing my own gardening, let alone sort of opening myself up to help anyone else out. Sorry, mate.
But you notice when we haven't done the video yet, but in his house he's put down AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Why? So he doesn't have to mow the lawn.
Yeah. But weeds still pop up.
Yeah, still got to weed it though. Yeah. Anyway, so we've just finished our little hour here. We're going to just take a short break, and then we'll be back up on our Twitch channel. And we're actually doing some gaming. We're in the middle of the game. Stream starts, and then we're going to go back to the game now. So, enough of that. Did I just shoot the wall? Okay. What am I doing? So getting out of here. Where's the buttons to close it down? Got to go trying to catch up with Jen in a minute, so we'll do that. He'll probably pop in here when we stop the stream anyway. I'm out of here. Close this screen. We'll just leave that running. Won't leave that running because it's got background noise.
Have a great week, everyone.
Tab. No, Alt tab. There we go. That stops it, doesn't it? Okay. I'm out of here. Todd's out of here. We're going to go play some games, and you're welcome to join us if you want. When Star Citizen 318 actually gets released and we can log in, we'll be playing that game. But in between that, we might play this game or the other game. Cody sort of said they've done Moder, so our levels in Valheim are their levels now, so we could go and jump in there and start building our, fortresses. If so plenty of games to play. We're out of here. Peace out, guys. See you next week.